Hi again, everybody. Kevin Canessa coming to you live from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com on this Tuesday, March 19th, 2019. Hope you are all enjoying your Tuesday so far, no matter where it is you are in the country, whether you're here in Hudson County or if you're in California or in Colorado, where we've had some visitors from over the last few weeks. Hope you're all doing well. Of course, to all of our regular visitors, we thank you for coming by as you do so often. And to anybody who may be here for the first time, we welcome you to the program as well. Every Tuesday, what I do is I come on board and bring to you a recap of the week's news. And if you are watching this and not just listening, you will see in the upper corner of your screen this week's front page, which is by all means, I would say, probably the most radical front page we have had in years. I have been involved with this newspaper for the better part of the last 13 years or so, and this is the first time we have not had a front page photograph on the front page. And it doesn't need it because the headline itself speaks for itself. Santos to Murphy, shut Keegan now. The bottom line here, folks, is that the situation with the Keegan landfill is getting so out of control. And the state of New Jersey, whether it is in the governor's office or with the state DEP, or even locally more so with the Hudson Regional Health Commission, it just doesn't seem like anything is getting done. And you can tell in the voice of Mayor Alberto Santos that he is getting very, very frustrated at this point because they're not giving proper answers. And that's the bottom line to this story. I'm not going to get into it completely. I would hope that all of you will take some time to read a little bit about the interview that I had with the mayor. But the bottom line with all of this is that in order to get something done here, everybody is going to have to do a part because while you do elect elected officials to speak on your behalf, it's just not going to be enough in this case. And so there are a couple of things that are happening. Number one, we certainly encourage you as a newspaper to write letters and we will publish them. Number two, we have already tweeted this front page to Governor Murphy. Don't know if he's going to see it. It's probably just his people who do the tweeting for him. We don't know, but we wanted to make sure that he saw it. And you got to get involved by going, let's say, on Thursday to the meeting of the mayor, excuse me, the meeting of the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority in Lyndhurst. I think it's at 10 o'clock on Thursday. I know that there's going to be a caravan, a carpool leaving, I think, 9:30 from Town Hall here in Kearney. You could go directly on your own. And when you get there, you sort of have to speak because they need to know from people who live in this town that number one, it's not acceptable. Number two, $17 million. Yeah, that's what the state gets for keeping this open, but it's not worth it when you're given these health conditions that so many people are going through right now. We wrote this a couple of weeks ago. We know of certain people who won't be named for obvious privacy reasons, but who are having breathing issues who never had these breathing issues before. And they spend a great deal of time in this town. And if you don't think there's some connection to the Keegan landfill with the people who are having these problems, you're nuts. It's the bottom line. It's got to have a connection. So, folks, Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning in Lyndhurst, the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority has its next meeting. Go speak. When you speak, don't get nasty with them. Just tell them like it is. Going up there and being nasty or being confrontational is going to do nothing. It may not do anything anyway with these guys if you get up there and you're speaking, because if they haven't done anything now, who knows what they're going to do. But being there in force and en masse is a good thing. So Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning, the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority has its next meeting, and that's the best thing that you can do up to this point. But again, write letters to the governor, write letters to Senator Nick Sacco, and you can write letters to us, and we will certainly publish them. Try to keep them to 250 words or fewer, but send them to editorial@theobserver.com. We will certainly publish them and make sure that they are sent to and seen by Governor Phil Murphy. So check that out on page one, this week's edition of the Observer. On pages 2 and 3 this week, I had a chance to interview a girl, and I'm sorry that I used the word girl, a young woman who is a graduate of Kearney High School. Her name is Nicole Moeller, and she's on the small screen. She graduated from Kearney High School in 1997. So maybe some of you out there may remember Nicole. And she's in a movie called Bruce. It's showing this week at the theater. I forget what it's called, at the Mills at Jersey Gardens, or the Jersey Garden Mall, as it was known forever until they decided to change it. So if you know Nicole, she's a wonderful young lady. She does I enjoyed getting to discuss independent films with her, and this particular one looks like it should be a winner. So check out that story on pages 2 and 3 in this week's edition of The Observer. Moving along, the Elks of East Newark and Harrison with Larry Bennett have for 20 some odd years put on a program in Long Branch every year with the North Central District of the Elks, where students from Harrison High School, even Kearney High School, I believe, and other schools in that district come together and are taught to be peer leaders. And I had a chance to speak with Councilman Larry Bennett about this last week, and it was worthy of a story because they're doing great work. You know, they teach these kids how to come back and be pure leaders when they are back at their respective schools. And some of the issues that they discuss on a regular basis when they're at Long Branch are the dangers of drug abuse, alcohol abuse, getting involved in gangs, and the like, and peer pressure, depression, all these sorts of things that teenagers face on a regular basis. And so Larry was gracious enough to sit down with me last week, and we talked all about it. I gave it a recap, and I hope you'll check it out. And it's a wonderful program. They also have a program for kids in junior high school or middle school, 7th and 8th grade. They go just for one day. The high school kids stay overnight when they go down to Long Branch, but they are certainly doing great things, are the Elks with Larry, and these kids are coming back with a lot of knowledge that they can share with their classmates. So do indeed check that out when you get a chance. The Kearney Police Blotter is on page number 5, and the lead story from our Karen Zodic is a rescue that Officer Castillo made at the Walmart using Narcan. This guy from Bloomfield apparently overdosed and passed out, and when they administered the nasal spray, they were able to revive him and reverse the effects of the heroin that he had taken. I'm not sure what form of heroin that he took, but a great job out of Officer Castillo and the Kearney PD, and the drug Narcan really is saving lives. Now, this is an advert, but I will just briefly mention it, but there'll be something in next week's edition of The Observer. The Archdiocese of Newark is having another prayer service, a Lenten prayer service, for survivors of sexual abuse in the church. That takes place Thursday, March 28th, 2019. I'll have a full story on that prayer service next week in the March 27th edition of The Observer. But this is, I think, the third or fourth time that Cardinal Tobin is doing something like this. He is taking a very proactive role here and giving an outlet for survivors of this abuse to speak. And you will see in another story that I'm going to actually forward to, that there was this piece where a defrocked priest who used to live in Belleville, was a priest in the Archdiocese of Newark, John Caparelli, was murdered in his home in Henderson, Nevada. I'm going to tell you something. This was a sad one, because some of the things that this creep is alleged to have done are just completely unfathomable. You read the story and decide for yourself, but this is one of the more difficult stories that I've had to research and do, to some of the things that he did with young boys. And I'll tell you, I remember the story when I first heard that a priest had been murdered, and I remember about this because he was a teacher in Newark. The Star Ledger did a whole expose on how he was teaching in the system, and yet he had all these allegations, 25 allegations levied against him by boys who said that they used to be made to strip down into Speedos and wrestle each other by this creep. So when you get a chance, check it out on page number 7. And, never wish anything bad on anybody, but you'll see one of the victims basically says, this guy got what was coming to him. And God forgive me, I couldn't agree more. As we move on, Troop 2 in Kearney. It is the oldest troop that is left in the town of Kearney. For the Boy Scouts, they are having a crisis, not enough members, not enough adult volunteers. So if you would, check this piece out. And if you have a teenager in your family, or if you are an adult who is involved in scouting, they need your help. If you can, give it a read, and you'll see what's going on there with troop number 2. Nutley is offering free thyroid, excuse me, I shouldn't say free, thyroid screenings. I believe are $30 a piece, and you can certainly check that out as well. Here's a look at the sports section from our own Jim Haig. Kearney looks to be smart, have a baseball season to remember. Belleville softball looks to make up for lost season. I guess they must have had a bad season last year. I didn't know that. NA Vikings look to strong pitching depth on the baseball diamonds. That's about the varsity boys basketball team in North Arlington. Here are this week's obituaries, and I was very saddened to learn, I guess it was yesterday morning, that Rosa Pino, who is the mom of John Pino, a longtime friend of mine, died, and she was just 81 years old. So from all of us, of course, as we do to all of the people who die in the area, our thoughts are with you, John, and with all of those who have lost a loved one in this week's edition and in the area. Just a couple of other small items here. The Township of Lyndhurst is offering a swim sessions for parents and younger children. Franklin School Honor Roll, Students of the Month were announced. Now here is our classified section. It is about 2.5 pages here. These here, the first are apartment rentals and spaces for rent, halls for rent. As you move on the inside, there's a lot of services that are offered in construction and cleaning and things of that nature, and then help wanted too. So if it's a job that you're looking for, we certainly have quite a bit, about a total of 8 or 9 columns here. These are all job offerings and help wanteds that are in the paper this week. So, people often say, well, why would I use classified when I could use Craigslist? Well, the truth of the matter is, you shouldn't. There's no reason why you shouldn't be using the classified, because first, number one, they're growing, but the amount of people who actually see these classifieds is actually pretty remarkable. Aside from the obituaries, online classifieds are the most read thing on our website. So there's so many people who are reading these. So if you're looking to hire, if you're looking to sell something, if you have an apartment that you want to rent or a home to sell, anything of that nature, the number of people who are actually seeing our classifieds has grown exponentially over the last year and a half. So if you are a business owner and if you're looking to hire somebody or anything of that nature, you need to rent, please give us a call, 201-991-1600, and take part in that. And now the last 2 pages of this week's edition, of course, is this advertisement from Bellavia, and this final one from Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, Kosher Realty, with John Kwetnewski at the helm. So that's a look at this week's newspaper, and it's certainly was one of the more intense newspapers that we've done in a while, and certainly the most radical, I would think, on the cover. And again, back to this Keegan thing one more time before I sign off. Don't forget, get involved. You're needed. It's just not enough for the elected officials to do things with this. Get on board with us. We'll get your message to the governor, or send us letters, whatever it is you want to do. But it's important to speak up. On page number 6 in this week's edition of the Observer, a 14-year-old teenager wrote a letter to the editor. That's the first time I've seen a letter from a 14-year-old in all the years that I've been here. And the child is certainly, it's very important to see that. And, the parents, of course, gave permission for that. But if you're the parent of a young child too who wants to get involved, let them. What a better, but no better time really to get involved in this situation here with Keegan by letting the kids get involved. So if you want, you can certainly allow your child to send a letter to us. We'll publish it. Just let us know. We'll be confirming it because we don't necessarily publish letters from teenagers, but on a regular basis. But we will certainly look to confirm that as well. But great time to do it. Please get involved. Also, hope you enjoyed the trip that Lisa and I did on Friday through Harrison. We're going to do another one this week. Of course, we're not going to announce just where we're going this week, but I think you'll all enjoy it once all is said and done. I don't know. Lisa's had a blast. I've had a blast doing them, and it's just I just remember so many things come back after you're driving around, and I think about all the different changes. And I would imagine that Harrison would probably be the most radical difference for people who haven't been around in a long time to see what's going on there and in Kearney and all over the place. Really, it's such a different place than it was even as much as 5-10 years ago. I left Kearney for a long time in 2004. And even in the time from '04 to now, the difference is just remarkable in West Hudson and all of our townships. So, again, we've had a great time doing that. And to businesses that are out there, now, I got to give a little sales pitch. I do it every week. The trips that we take, what we're hoping to do is for somebody to become a sponsor of Lisa and Kevin on the road. So if you're a business owner, keep something in mind. While we were live in Harrison, we had at least 600 people who watched us live. And up to this point right now, we've had over 2,200 people who have viewed this. So if you're an advertiser, your message is going to be seen by a lot of people when we do our road trips. Get on the phone, 201-991-1600, give us a call. We can put up a graphic. We can do all sorts of things to get your message out there while we're taking our trip. So hopefully somebody out there and a business owner is looking to do something like this. And it continues, like even with my news broadcast, which is seen by about, I'd say, between 600 and 1,000 people every week. And some of our other videos that have been live that have been up to 5,000-6,000 people who have watched. This is a great avenue for business owners to do different kinds of advertising. The Observer is no longer just a newspaper. Those days are gone, long gone. But Tony Tortoretti was so far ahead when it came to technology back in, I believe it was 1996 when he bought theobserver.com. And I did a little bit of research and I found out something that I didn't even know, and I haven't even shared this with anybody here at The Observer, that theobserver.com was one of the first 100,000 websites ever created. And if you think about that, that's a very remarkable thing to be able to boast. 100,000 may seem like a lot, but if you really think about how many websites there are now in the world, 100,000 is infinitesimal. So Tony was way ahead of the curve. And we're still following that now under the leadership of Lisa, Tina, and Bob. That's what we do. That's how we do it. So we are the Observer. We will always have this printed paper, God willing. But there's so much more to it now. And for advertisers, there's no better time to get involved on the digital side. So you want to hear about more, give us a call, 201-991-1600. It is about 19 minutes past the hour. Kevin Knessa here with you on this Tuesday, March 19th. Again, hope you are all enjoying your day today. I'm going to sign off for now because that's about it. And if anything else comes up, of course, I will bring it to you live, or somebody will bring it to you live at some point during the week. Don't forget that meeting of the NJSEA, New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority, is 10 a.m. on Thursday. I will be there. I can't say for sure that I'll be able to broadcast it live because I don't know what their policy is, but I'm going to do my best to be able to bring that to you live on Thursday so you can see what's going on if you cannot make it on your own. 10 o'clock, not the best time for a meeting, but that's how they do it because I guess they presume if you do it in the morning, nobody's going to show up. Not the case this week. There's going to be a decent crowd there. And if you have any questions or any concerns about that, you can give us a call at 219-1600. I'll let you know anything I can as well. So that'll do it for now. Vanessa signing off. Hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Have a good rest of the day, everybody.